First Watch now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
So the wrestling season is over.
Well, it's over for regular matches. We ended on Wednesday with 2 more victories for the boys and girls team. And I just got to say this. They had a great season. They ended winning 22 matches, and they lost 5. So what a great way to end. We had 15 seniors graduate, and I wish them well. But now we're getting ready for sectionals for both boys and girls, and which starts February 5th. February 12th, and then we go into state from there. So it's been a great season. I applaud my wrestlers, my student athletes. It's a tough sport, and we all know that, but they did well.
And it's cold outside. I just got to put that out there. It's pretty cold outside this morning.
It's really cold out there, and I came out this morning, it's like, ouch, and that wind. I mean,
that's going to be it. And we're supposed to have a lot of wind, so I just want to tell everybody, seriously, batten down the hatches, because if they say we're going to have a lot of wind and you're not ready for it, I don't think I need another trampoline.
No, and they say it's going to kick up about 3 in the morning. Sure enough, it did. Weathermen coming through for us. But, yeah, put those jackets on because it's a chilly one today.
And be careful because, again, people tend to not drive so well in this type of weather either, especially if it's going to be cold and there's any chance of ice or windy and you're on the interstate and there's semis, and just be really careful.
Slow down.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the key.
And if you see smoke tomorrow, there's prescribed burns on Fort Huachuca, so they won't do them if it's really windy, but those are going to be on Fort Huachuca. If you see smoke, that's what that is. Don't panic.
That's a good update because we get so many calls on that, Grady, when we see smoke anywhere in the county. I mean, the Monument Fire put us on edge probably for life now, for at least this generation. So, yeah, if you see smoke out there, give us a call if you don't know what it is. But tomorrow we get that prescribed burn. But we also got to talk about the Thunderbirds. That's huge talk over here.
Yes.
Thunderbirds are, they're flying, as everybody can see, they're flying all over. They're practicing here right now. This is where they come to do some practicing time. So it's not really an air show. They're just completely practicing, and we're trying to get them on for this show next week. So keep that update.
That'd be awesome. We get them on the show here. And we had some visitors from the state, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But when they arrived and flew into Sierra Vista Airport, the Thunderbirds had gone up a few minutes later and were flying, and they're like, this is awesome. People go to shows to watch this, and I said, we brought them in just for you guys today. So they're in here flying for you all, and they looked at me like, I'm just kidding. But it's awesome to have them around here, though, just flying around and adding a little flavor to our skies.
And they have some new pilots, and they're getting their certification, so that's what all this is about. So
yeah,
they're going to be here through next week.
Yeah, they came from New Mexico, here for 2 weeks, right? And then they're going to California?
I think they're going to California next, and they'll be with the Blue Angels doing training, which is the Navy version.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's going to be a show to see.
That will be a show to see. That won't be over our skies, but still, that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Well, you've got some meetings with the chiefs next week. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, the police chiefs in Cochise County, Border Patrol, the DPS leadership here, we're all coming together next Tuesday at the Sheriff's Office just to talk about our border, talk about the dynamics of what we're dealing with, the challenges, and mainly, I'll just tell you, the pursuits. I mean, that's affecting every community in this county, so we just want to make sure we're thinking alike. And what I mean by that is you don't want one agency doing one thing, another agency not doing another, and then you have a conflict of some sort, and then we see it in a headline. Worst thing could ever happen. So though we talk quite a bit, we want to get together and just make sure that we're strategizing, that we're all thinking alike, and we understand each other.
And you were talking about if you see lights, please pull over, get out of the way, because you anticipate law enforcement or public safety vehicle driving in a prescribed manner, but that doesn't say anything for the people that are in front of those cars. So you have to be really careful.
You do, and I got to commend our motoring public. Our work came out 2-3 nights ago, and my guys, the deputies, were just so busy, and so I'll talk about that here in a few minutes, but I was heading to a couple calls with emergency lights and sirens, and people were very responsive. So I want to thank you for doing that. Either listening to the show, which I'm sure they are every Friday morning, but they are responding. The only thing I got to make a statement on a couple of my stops this week that I was addressing is people need to move over. And I know, Grady, you have a PSA on that, and we appreciate that, Cherry Creek and you doing that, but people do not pull over. I mean, I was out with a female that had broken down this week, and I said, "Man, don't go near the road." And sure enough, here comes a couple cars. They didn't pull over for nothing. And if I wasn't tied up with this, I would have stopped and wrote them a ticket. I really would have. That's so dangerous, both for the people that are needing assistance along the highway and the law enforcement officer. So by law, you have to slow down and, when reasonable, move over to the left.
And so that's really common sense that you have to do that. And there's so many things that we try to get out on the show. Another thing that we want to put out there is for scams. There's a whole bunch of scams coming, and now they're targeting the sheriff's office. Again, not in as much as us being the victim, but us being spoofed for our phone number. And people are saying that we are calling them using different names. Like there was a Sergeant Roy Clark that from our sheriff's office. Well, we do have a Roy Clark, but he wouldn't be calling you telling you need to get like gift cards and money and give it to him over the phone, or he's going to come and arrest you, right?
You know, I had a citizen call me, and kudos to the citizen. Called, left me a message. She's a doctor in town. I ended up calling her back, and she goes, I'm going to send you this. It's the audio of it. And same thing. She had called saying that the sheriff's department was looking for her, and she had to, that same person was promoted to lieutenant. I listened to it. And so call us. We're not going to call and threaten you. We're not going to call and tell you have a warrant or you owe us money. We'll just come knock on your door, and we'll show you our creds, and we'll go from there. But, yeah, that person, kudos to that person. Obviously, and she even said, this is so sad they're doing this, because I'm sure people are falling vulnerable to this that we might never even know. But the more we can put out on that, the better we are. And I had a couple of citizens, ironically, we're talking about this, that were very complimentary to you, Carol and Grady, for putting this out through our Facebook, our social media, and talking about it on the show more.
We just talked about you having meetings with the chiefs so you're all on the same page, but you also want to get the community on the same page, and you're going to be doing that through some town hall meetings coming up next month.
We've had numerous requests, and in a transparent fashion, on February 9th, 10th, and 11th, we're going to be going around the county, and we'll be putting those out here within next, either today, maybe even next week, talking about the border status. And that'll be a collective effort of the leadership from Border Patrol, Brian McIntyre from the County Attorney's Office, myself, and others to talk to you about what is going on the border here in Cochise County. Not myth, not rumors, not opinions, not political. It's all about the facts, and here's what our innovative programs are in regards to addressing those situations.
And so that's important because we do get a lot of calls, and you were just saying, the number of pursuits have increased. So this is a multi-view effort. So you're meeting with the chiefs, you're going to talk about this. Now you're going to meet with the community, and you're going to talk about this. You're even meeting with a group tomorrow at Winter Haven, and you're going to talk about something very similar.
Yes, Winter Haven community asked me to come address that. I've invited, again, Brian McIntyre and our Border Patrol leadership to come over, and Service to PD, to come over and address what's going on the border and what we're doing to address these challenges. And so, again, I was told there's going to be a couple hundred people there tomorrow. So that's how we get information out. That's how we community share, and that's how we police in our community. So it's very, very positive. So when we put the meetings out here in February, please come join us. Please come join us. I know we're going to do a recording also and get that out. We're
going to try to do Facebook Live, so it'd be interactive immediately. And then the good thing about that is then we can save that for future review by anybody. So that would be posted then on our Facebook page or our web page.
It's just I hear so much, the governor's not doing this, the governor's not doing that, or why ain't you guys doing this? And we're going to talk about what we can and can't do. We're going to talk about what the governor is doing here in Cochise County. And then at that point, you have the facts. And how you judge it from then is totally up to you. But we want to get the facts out there, try to get more opinions and rumors off the table and facts on.
And you do have some state meetings this week.
We did. We did had some meetings. We had, like I was talking about, we had some folks fly in from the state. The director of DPS, a good friend of mine, the deputy director from DPS, and some folks from the governor's office. And let me tell you what this is all about. It's exciting. Some of the stuff we'd like to talk about is on the southwest border, which all 31 counties, based on DHS's presentations to us and talking to a lot of my fellow sheriffs that are actively engaged in this border issue, have stated that there's not one county out of the 31 that's not affected. They're all affected when it comes to the surge in this crisis. Well, the governor and I have been discussing, and they asked me, what do we need? We need a collective operations center for border operations on the southwest border. Cochise County was selected, so that unit will contain our virtual system, which is the whole southern county, all 4 counties on the southern border. It also include human trafficking unit in there, intel center in there, our street crimes, our border interdiction team, SABRE, you name it. If it has a border nexus, our 14 law enforcement partners will have access and be housed out of there by their choosing all the way through. So it's a one-stop shop for border operations, and that'll be the first on the southwest border. So the state is going to buy the facility, set it up for us, and then we'll be housed out of there. And again, that's one of many things that the governor's doing, the state's doing, and again, we'll be talking more about that.
It's pretty exciting that, you have such a huge effort, and it's going to be quick. I mean, we're going to make sure that, all of this is coming quickly, and it's going to be housed right here in Cochise County. So this is going to be kind of a beta test bed for any type of center like this if they choose to take it anywhere else. And so the regionalization aspect is going to be really good also. Partnering with our local, state, and federal entities and having it everything in one shop, I think it's going to be more effective and a better, efficient way to do business here for that particular thing.
The National Sheriff Association is even sponsoring the Intel Center out there. They will bring the experts in. They will pay the fees. So again, everything I'm talking about right here is not costing Cochise County anything. What it's doing, but thanks to national sheriffs, thanks to another foundation, thanks to the governor and the state, they're going to take care of this. We're just collectively putting the resources into one. And you're right, Carol, when you put everything together and they're sharing intel, sharing operations, sharing thoughts, we're all going to be better off on the southern border here in Arizona.
And, that's something similar to along the lines of the approach of CCOM. And,
Yes.
they've been in this whole process for over 3 years, just a little bit over 3 years. But, they're just nailing down the last little things that are trying to curl up. And they're going to do a really good job, just like this Intel Center. But Cochise County is, the Sheriff's Office in particular, is organizing all of this stuff. So it's like juggling. So that's just a huge way to, again, give back to our community. And another thing that is coming down the pike is a huge jail project, and that's taking a lot of resources to try to get that figured out. But it's important that everybody understands they need to have this project done, and then there's funds coming in for that too.
There is, and Gail Griffin, Representative Griffin, who I want to throw a shout out to, along with Dave Gowan and our new one, Representative Diaz, and Gail dropped the bill for $100 million to help us build the new jail here, which will cover 100% of the cost for us on the jail and some. So we're excited about that. We're excited with the partnership we have with this state. But you look at it, I mean, and people say, well, what's the jail? It's 40 years old. But what does that have to do with the border? Well, in the first 6 months, from July 1 to December 31st, just border-related crimes cost to taxpayers in Cochise County was $833,000. Incredible cost, incredible impact. And then you add 750 calls for service last calendar year, with the majority coming after April 1st, when we really started logging these numbers. You can see the impact and the need for a detention facility. So again, we're excited about that. By the way, the governor's office is going to reimburse us those costs here in Cochise County for those border-related crimes and bookings. So again, it's just a great partnership to have. I want to commend my team, you all sitting here too, and the community for supporting us to do this, because I'm telling you, this would be a huge impact to the county if we had to do it internally.
And the county is going to, or the council is going to visit the jail today.
They are. Service to City Council is going to be at our jail today. They're doing a tour to get a good eye on it. We've asked all the councils, mayors, all our LE partners, you name it, Fort Huachuca, for example, who is supporting us for the new facility. And so the Service to City Council has given me a verbal, yeah, we're going to support you, Sheriff. We've been there before, but they're going to come back down today and do an in-depth tour of our jail so they can actually see what we're talking about when they come through. So they're doing that today. So I want to thank the City Council of Sierra Vista for coming down today.
Well, let's talk about search and rescue. They've had a busy week.
Yes. And you know, they're the unsung heroes. All our volunteers are in every organization, and the 50, 60 volunteers that go out there, I see the briefs, hey, they went out, they're out there doing this, but we never hear the dynamics. And I talked to Ursula Ritchie, who's one of our coordinators, Sergeant Dave Nolan, who's been with us forever, since 84, I think.
He says he's going to pull the plug in June, but I told him it's been canceled, so I just want everybody to know that.
I think it's just the 40-year tease. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But either way, they were out last weekend. They had an elderly individual go up into the Chiricahuas, got up into the snow. And thanks to a collective effort with DPS, their helicopter, our team, which are medically trained. They got members that are medically trained. They went up there and they saved this man's life. They gave him a second chance of life, and those stories you don't see every day, but they're happening all the time. So thank you to all my search and rescue volunteers out there, to Ursula and Dave that coordinate those efforts, and they're saving lives every day. And like you said, they were out last night.
Mm-hmm. They have all of this that they're doing, and it's just important that people understand, it's dedicated hours and efforts without being paid for the most part. So just like, the Sheriff's Assist team. So we appreciate all of our volunteers, just like you said.
We're trying to, Arizona Sheriff Association, we're trying to actually push a bill this year where we can actually start reimbursing them, at least for mileage. They use their own vehicles to go to and from, sometimes even to missions. So we're looking to see if we can do that. So we're pushing that through because these people put themselves in harm's way. Hanging from a cliff, hanging from a helicopter, doing aerial rescue, whatever it may be, and they're unsung heroes. So we're trying that, and I know the sheriffs really appreciate our search and rescues throughout the state.
Well, let's talk about your border update for the week.
Well, the border update, I'm sure most people have heard. We had an assault on a Border Patrol agent here a couple of days ago. Very scary situations. I'll yield that release. My escape team was out there, also FBI. FBI's taking the lead on this one. So anytime the lead agency, that's their press release, not ours. But as a result of that, the day before there was another assault on a Border Patrol agent that most people probably don't know about. We had an assault on a local officer. We had one of my deputies had a very unique situation where 20 illegals came back out of a cargo truck and surrounded them. We're talking to overpower my deputy out there by himself. Luckily, on that one, we took over the situation and got some backup there. But either way, and I talked to a citizen yesterday where he had him in his property out in the county, and he understood what they were saying. They were going to overpower the homeowner. So we're going to be putting out a safety message on that to be vigilant. Call us. Call 911. I mean, what we're dealing with is very different than what we've dealt with in the past in my 37, almost 38 years. So it's time to put out a public service announcement that people need to be very careful in this county. And it's not here to scare anybody. It's not here to present fear, but it is to get people, if you see them on your property, call 911.
Well, it's just like you saw anybody else on your property. If you just were there and you happened to notice somebody creeping around, you would call 911.
You do, and we want you to do that. We want to be the ones to address that, and we're not taking your rights from. We want you to be able to protect yourself. That's the number one. But let us help you do that. Let us get out there and help you. I put out an officer safety alert to my deputies and officers yesterday in regards to what's going on, and we support them. We support them on their training, their best judgments, their experiences to address situations. But they also need to know that I support them when it comes to making those decisions. So I put that out yesterday internally to my staff, and but we're going to come out with a public announcement. So be safe out there. I mean, we've already told you about the pursuits. When you see red and blues, you please pull over. But second, now we need to. It's gone to the point where we need to let you know this.
Do you have a stop of the week?
Let me think here. We do. It's been a busy week, I'll just say, and run around the county.
He just has to. It just takes him a while to go through the 423, I think, stops that you've made in the past 7 days. So just pick one.
Actually, I was going to go to the office today and do paperwork, but it seems so boring, doesn't it? Anybody listening understands that. It works in an office setting. But I did help my deputies with a high-risk stop this week on a stolen plate. And again, this is just, when you hear of all these pursuits, these smuggling going on, the 900 to 1,000 people come down to pick up illegals in our county, you hear all that. That comes with an impact. So we had to stop there today. One of my officers was following a vehicle, stolen plates. So I jumped out there and with another sergeant, and we helped him with the high-risk stop in one of the rural parts of the county. And let me just say, it's refreshing to know I still have a little bit of tactics to do that, because and they were very nice people. Somebody had stolen their plate, another plate got put on there. It was just a kind of a mess situation, so it wasn't a smuggling effort, but we don't know that. All we know is we had a stolen, and usually with stolen plates are high risk to us, because obviously something's not right. Vehicle stolen, people are fugitives, who knows? But again, it went well, but it was nice to see that, and I even got my handcuffs out. I was like, No rust or anything, folks. They still work.
Well, Sheriff Mark Daniels, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Grady, Carol, thank you so much for what you do, and thank you, everybody. Please be safe out there, everybody.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Cochise County Attorney Brian McIntyre.
First Watch on KWCD Country, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
Brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County. And we have Cochise County Attorney Brian McIntyre. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. It's good to be here, even though it's really early and I should probably be driving to work.
I don't know. I see a double shot energy Starbucks in front of you, so.
That was supposed to be between you and I. What happened to attorney-client confidence?
Sorry. Okay, well, welcome. We're glad that you are here. Every time you're here, you're able to share important information. So anything that you want to share about what's going on in the county attorney's office, we'd love to hear.
So last year was, I think, a good year for us in terms of our office achieved some statewide recognition. Two of my prosecutors won the statewide Victim Advocacy Award. That's Mike Powell and Tarisha Driggs. We were really proud of them. It's a competitive award voted on by all of the members of what's called Arizona Prosecuting Attorneys Advisory Council. Also, our paralegal who's in charge of kind of all our body cam work and our case management software platform. Her name's Dallas Bullington. We're really proud of her. She won the statewide award from APAC for Paralegal of the Year. And then finally, my former chief criminal deputy, who now works for us in the juvenile division, but also still handles some felony cases and other matters. He won MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving's statewide DUI Prosecutor of the Year award. So really interesting in this crazy time that we're in with the coronavirus and all these other things going on. Our system still has to go forward, and I was just really proud. I'm really proud of the team there. And I think the people of the county can be really thankful for the team that we have at the county attorney's office, continuing to do their best every day to ensure justice for people in this county.
And all of that is basically behind the scenes. I mean, you see, Law and Order, so you see the courtroom docudramas that come out, but you don't see behind the scenes everything that goes into that.
Exactly. None of the shows on TV ever effectively show what it actually takes to get a case from point A all the way to a guilty verdict. And of course, the work continues even beyond the verdict.
And you also deal with a lot of aspects of that, from the victims, the suspects, and even law enforcement officers. And one of the things you do to front load that is you teach at the academy, which is what you were doing yesterday, making sure that the new recruits get a good head start with learning the basics of law and what they need to do from that point.
Yes. So the Police Academy actually used to be a 17-week curriculum. It's now been expanded to 20 weeks with some additional modifications. Thankfully, I teach the law and legal section, and my part didn't expand much, but it's still a vast amount of information. If you think about it, in order to become a lawyer, you do an undergraduate degree, and then you spend 3 years in law school, theoretically learning the law. We're packing all of Arizona law that's relevant to law enforcement into about 90 hours of instruction, and also including constitutional law, search and seizure, liability issues, all of these things at once. What's really great, and hats off to Cochise College and the partnership with the Sheriff's Department and the other agencies in Cochise County, we started with 12, now we're at 11, but all of the recruits that are presently at the academy are going to a community in Cochise County. Every single one of them is picked up by an agency here. And so what's nice for me, and part of the reason why I'm committed to doing it, is I think it's really important for them to have this homegrown training and an understanding of not just the law itself, but the spirit of the law, and the spirit of the law when we think of our community, what we want out of law enforcement officers. And of course, we want professional, well-trained officers, but also people who understand the differences between Cochise County and, let's say, Phoenix metropolitan area.
Sheriff Daniels was talking about how the current border state is affecting the Cochise County Sheriff's Office to include our jail. How is it affecting your office?
Gosh, we're busy. We're very busy. I appreciate and understand some of the emails and phone calls I've gotten about, why aren't you guys locking these folks up, if you will. But realistically, under Arizona law, we have no ability to charge someone just for being present in the country illegally. That doesn't mean that we're not doing anything. Failure to yield cases increased at least threefold last year. That's felony flight, essentially running away from law enforcement. And we charge every one of those that comes to our office, whether it was failure to yield from Border Patrol or failure to yield from one of our state law enforcement or the county or SVPD. That in and of itself has become a rather big problem for us. What the drivers that are being recruited don't understand, in addition to a lot of other things, is that if they just pull over and all they have is undocumented individuals, then that's a federal government issue, and they're likely to just go home that day. Pull over and save your own life and certainly possibly someone else's life. The other sort of funny, but on the same note, we recently teamed up with Homeland Security Investigations Unit to track down some of the failure to yield people, the drivers that got away from everybody. Maybe they ran from the scene, or there was a short failure to yield and no local law enforcement were able to respond. Well, they were arriving at my office, I think, on Tuesday to drop off packets for drivers that we're going to go issue warrants for and scoop up in Phoenix and Tucson. There was someone loading up a group of undocumented folks right behind my office in Bisbee. So they had to call in and say, hey, we're coming in with packets. Please don't close yet because we got a whole bunch of people to arrest real quick. And they're just right there outside our back door. Good news in terms of that vehicle never got mobile. But especially also for the people in our community, and I know Mark already talked about it a bit, when you see those lights, as soon as you see those lights, don't stomp on the brakes, but start getting over, protect yourself. It's protection for the officer, and just protection for all of us out here.
Well, Brian McIntyre, we thank you for coming and talking to us today, and we thank you for everything that you do for Cochise County.
No, thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
Next we have George Wheat from the Cowboy Poetry and Music Gathering.
First Watch on KWCD Country, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
First Watch is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Hey, Cochise County, we have George Wheat from the Cowboy Poetry and Music Gathering. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Carol.
So,
let's talk about the Cochise County Poetry and Music Gathering. First of all, what is it?
Well, it is a gathering of cowboy artists, poets, musicians that get together, and it's been something that's done through history. Back in the 1800s when we were settling the West out here, they would get together around the campfire, gather, tell their stories in poetry and music. Back then it might have been a banjo as opposed to guitar, but they did it that way. Many of the songs that we all know as cowboy songs probably started out first as poetry and then was put to music. But it is something that they've been doing for over a century now. So it's a lot of fun. We get together for 2 days of music and poetry, and artists come from all over the country and some from all over the world. We've had artists come from Australia, Canada, so it's a lot of fun.
And there's even some Grammy Award-winning artists.
Oh, yes. This year, for our 30th annual gathering, and we are one of the longer-running gatherings in the country that has survived the pandemic so far, to keep going consecutive years, 30 consecutive years. For our Saturday headline show, we have the Grammy Award-winning Sons of the Pioneers. You've heard of them, seen them on TV and in a lot of the Westerns with Roy Rogers. This is the group that he founded.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So what kind of, when we go to this gathering, what kind of stuff is going to be on stage? I mean, obviously poetry and music, but kind of walk us through what we might see.
Well, so we have a couple of shows. We have our headline shows on Friday and Saturday evening, and it's in the Klein Center for the Performing Arts. Shows start at 7. But what we'll have is we've gone down from 6 or 7 acts to 3 acts. So we have 2 lead-in acts and a primary headline act on Friday evening, and then and that will be Junie Fisher leads off, and then poet Joe Harrington. He worked many years as a Disney Imagineer, but he is a great cowboy poet. And then we'll have Kristen Harris and Haley Sandoz will be our main headline group on Friday evening. Saturday evening will be all just the Sons of the Pioneers, so that's a very special show for us, like we did on our 25th gathering 5 years ago. During the day on Saturday, we have performances going every hour from 10 until 5, and we have 7 different venues at Buena High School, and the artists rotate around, and the patrons, the guests can rotate around to see they can follow their favorite artists, or they can just move to different venues to see a different group of artists each hour. So they rotate every hour.
And do you have local artists, and how young is your youngest one?
Well, we normally have our youth poetry contests that we do every year in the schools. We send artists into the schools in September, October, and the students are encouraged and instructed on how to write poetry with Western themes and stuff, cowboy themes. And this year, unfortunately, we could not find a volunteer leadership for this committee that puts this on. So, and with restrictions in the school as well, as far as having visitors in the school, we had to suspend our program this year. But our youngest artists that perform on stage at the headline show would normally be fourth grade kids, so fourth grade through seniors in high school. So they compete in elementary, middle school, high school division, and high school seniors can submit a poem to be considered for a scholarship. And we've always reserved $5,000 to award 5 $1,000 scholarships if the poems are worthy. There's many years we don't have a poem that gets awarded as a scholarship.
And in the past, have you done dances as well?
Yes. I think our 26th gathering was themed barn dance at the request of many of the dance groups, square dance groups or whatever. They wanted to have something to do, so we did a barn dance theme and started a barn dance, and we've had it each year except for last year when we had a virtual gathering. So the barn dance is something great, and our artist for this year is going to be Kristen Harris and Friends. So she'll be on Friday night, and then Saturday afternoon from 4:30 to 6:30, she and several of our participating artists will get together and be the music group for the barn dance, because Kristen is a big Western swing artist, so it'll be a good time.
All this happens next week, so where can we get tickets?
You can get tickets online at cowboypoets.com, our website. We're doing this through Eventbrite, and there are no outlets in town, but there are plenty of tickets available now if you want to buy them online, or if you come, you can buy them at the door on Friday evening. The ticket booth will be open at about 5 o'clock, and it'll be open all day on Saturday from 9 until showtime on Saturday. Let me say one thing. After our headline shows on Friday and Saturday evening, we also have jam sessions at the Garden Place Suites where the artists will just get together in the lobby and they'll just go around and each do a song or a poem or something. And any aspiring artist that would like to do one can do a poem. So it's a lot of fun.
And do you guys have a website, Facebook, that people can follow as well?
We do. Our website is cowboypoets.com, and we also have a Facebook page which you can get to off of our website. So look us up. There's always artists are posting all the time on our Facebook page.
And you can get links to tickets from there as well, I'm sure.
Yes.
All right. Well, George, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to the Cowboy Poets next week.
Yeehaw.
And Carol, how do they get a hold of us at the Sheriff's Office?
You can reach out to us by calling us at 520-432-9500, or we have our webpage at cochise.az.gov/sheriff, and then we have our social media, which starts out with our Facebook at Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mark J. Dannels, and we have links there to our Instagram and our Twitter accounts.
First Watch on KWCD Country, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Only on 92.3 KWCD.
Careful.